Hi everyone, welcome back to Raising Geniuses. Today we have a guest, and our guest will talk about cybersecurity, one of the careers that have come about by the change and the introduction of technology, which is the internet. Karibuni sana. With us, the guest is called Lewis. Lewis, karibu sana. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us more about yourself and what you do, and then we'll introduce cybersecurity.
Great. So my name is Lewis. I'm a cybersecurity expert. I've been around for the last 10 to 15 years of doing cybersecurity as a career. That is on a day-to-day basis.
15 years?
Yes.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. My background is in software engineering.
Okay.
And a bit of network and infrastructure.
Okay.
And then, my transition to cybersecurity was out of curiosity.
Okay.
So they say a cat has 9 lives, so I was testing my luck with it.
Okay.
The idea with it was to tinker with technology as much as possible.
Okay.
So that particular trigger had me trying to understand how infrastructures work.
Okay.
And then at the same time figuring out, so what is the limit of this technology that we're having?
Okay.
And then along the way you realize you can make technology actually do the things that initially were not intended for it to do.
Okay.
And then that is how my journey into cybersecurity started.
Okay, when you say initially not intended to do, what does that mean?
So that means it's like anything, like a phone,
Yes.
Or even a smartwatch.
Yes.
So it's putting or unlocking features within that particular technology that in essence are not open to the general user. Yes. So that's would be it in a nutshell.
Okay.
So fortunately or unfortunately now with cybersecurity, there's a question of ethics.
Okay.
So you can decide to do it for the positive or for the negative.
Okay.
So in our case, well, when we started, you were a bit clueless. So you're like, okay, let me figure out this thing. Let me see what it does. And then along the way, you meet people and then you get to learn, okay, you need to do it. You need to use it for the right purpose.
Okay.
And for the right purpose means that now as a career, my main objective is to help businesses secure their assets so that they can operate in a secure environment.
Okay. So let me get it. So there are two sides of it. You can do it in an ethical way and in
an ethical
way.
Correct.
So which is the unethical way?
So it's the same tech. Unfortunately, it's the same technology, right?
Yes.
So you want to use it, like for instance, when we talk about things like fraud, right? So it's the same technology that is being used, but this time it's being used to siphon money out of institutions, even out of ourselves as individuals. I'm sure we've all seen scenarios where someone calls you, tells you to dial XYZ codes, and then by the time you realize your 10,000-15,000 is gone.
Okay. I see it. Now, by simple definition, what is cybersecurity?
Cybersecurity, very simple definition. It is the career whereby your main goal or our main function is to help organizations and individuals secure themselves in a manner that they can operate safely. That is, by safely I mean without losing money, losing information, shutting down, those kind of things.
Where did this start? What time or when? Where did it start?
I'd say cyber as a career is probably over 40-50 years old.
50 years old?
Yes.
Okay.
So the thing with cyber is that it follows technology, right? So in our case, you find that around 40 years ago is when people were using phones, the landlines kind of phones.
Yes.
And I'm sure the older generations will understand where you put the coin and then pull it out. It had a hole in between, so you put it and pull it out. You see,
so you can reuse again and again.
And again and again. You see, it doesn't look like it's anything cyber.
Yes.
But the phone, as it were, is a piece of technology. But you see, you figured, so I can use this without paying.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you see that's sort of, well, the unethical side of it, because
yes.
ideally you're supposed to pay for
Okay,
it.
okay.
Yeah.
So unethical side of it, I'm understanding, is when you know these are the loopholes,
Correct.
and you go ahead and use the loopholes to gain for yourself. Some maybe money or something. Okay, good. Now tell us, yourself as Lewis, how did you decide now I want to pursue cybersecurity? This is the point I want to go and where I want to go.
I'd say I fell onto it.
Okay.
Like I mentioned, I studied software engineering.
Yes.
So in my very free time in campus, as you know, our education system, you have a lot of free time
About
in between.
2 years before even.
Even in campus.
Even in campus.
So I at that point is when I started tinkering.
Okay.
So out of curiosity.
Okay. When you say tinkering,
yes.
maybe our user wonders what is tinkering.
Tinkering is just it's the curiosity of how things work. It's how a child, you give them a car,
Yes.
then a toy car, and then they have to dismantle it.
Okay.
It's that kind of curiosity that let me figure why are these wheels going around, right?
Yes.
And what's the idea?
Yes.
So of course for a child they'll dismantle it and realize, okay, so maybe they were joined together, that's why. So for me the same thing with technology was to understand. Yes, I'm studying software engineering, which is ideally software development.
Yes.
But then I realized, okay, fine. So there are all these other things that are there in technology. There's networks, there is all these applications. So how do I make them? How do I understand them? So that curiosity had me understanding, going to learn about networks and infrastructure, how that works. And then I realized, oh, okay, so I'm in the library. The internet has gone down. Why is it going down, right? And then you realize, okay, fine. So there's a bit of a device there that's not working correctly as it should. So it's to figure out, okay, so why is it not working as it should, right? And then you look at it, study it, and then figure out, okay, so you can configure it like this or in this manner. And then internet is back. And then along the way you figure out, okay, fine. So if I need internet, I can also kick everyone out and use the internet for myself as I do my assignments or whatever it is.
Outside of it.
At that point, it never made it wasn't ethical or unethical. It was just curiosity. How is this working? Right? And then now later on, years later, like 7, 8 years down the line, is when I'm thinking, okay, I see what was being done. I see what I was doing. It's not a bad thing, because at that point it's curiosity. But then looking at it back then, I felt that, okay, fine. I think if I had better, if the career was mature enough at that point, or the industry was mature enough, there would be enough people to guide us as to what is within the right boundaries. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I understand. Now, initially, as you are tinkering, the word you're using, the pathway or the career was not well defined.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. How are we now? How are we moving towards?
At that point, the career, cyber as a career wasn't there. You'd realize in a whole technology or in a whole business, there are no cyber professionals. Right? They would, even the leading few firms that were there had like 1 or 2 people. Right? And it was like that for quite some time, because I did that for my 4 or 5 years in campus. Then when I transitioned, luckily I transitioned into an organization that appreciates the role. So I actually found myself, okay, now I know I studied software engineering, but I'm actually doing cybersecurity. So and then that is when now we get introduced to other people, and then you realize, okay, we are not that many at that point. So we are like 10 people that were actually doing it. So from there is when we were having conversations, when we realized, oh, okay, I think then we need to bring in more people, guide people as well, so that they understand, yes, it's technology, yes, you can tinker and you can make it do a few things here and there, but you want to do it the right way, because as well there's a law.
Good. So as an expert, how does your day-to-day look like?
My day is interesting at this point. So when I started out, my main work was to secure around infrastructure that's spread around 18 countries. So that by security, I mean, one, make sure that users are operating within the governance.
Okay.
So what we have is that when we think of cyber, just to backtrack a bit, it's a vast career in the sense that there's the technical aspect and then there's the governance aspect. So technical is where you have your developers, your hackers, all those guys. The governance aspect is where you develop policies. So we call them policies and procedures. So ideally, the policy is what says, as a business, we can only, this is what we do. This is how we set our passwords. This is how we do this and this, and then the technology team implements those particular policies. So that's why I said it's a bit of a large industry, in the sense that you have options within the career to explore.
So you can be a policy person and a technical person.
Correct.
Who starts, the technical person or the policy people?
It depends on where someone is in their career. You can transition it. You can transition into. It's easier to transition into governance. But as well, it's also easier to transition into technology, depending on where someone is in their career. But it's also possible to have a bit, to merge both of them as a person.
So now, how do you practice cybersecurity daily
in my business? One way, at this point I have a lot of meetings with customers. My main work is to understand where their gaps are and find solutions for them. So a customer will come by and say, okay, we are having a data loss or data leakage problem, and this is how it's happening. So we sit with them, understand the gap that they're having, then we provide a solution for that. So ideally, the solution is supposed to cover that gap, and as well as look at the business growth in terms of either usage, users, expansion in terms of region, and how far that technology can help them impact or even have a positive impact.
Now, when you have the meetings, they present their problems. How do you determine this is a cyber threat and this is not?
Well, in most cases, fortunately, the customer is already aware that this is a problem.
That's where they're coming,
right? Years back, they were not aware that this is a problem, right? So back then, we had first to educate the end user or the customer that this is what this means and this is the impact it has in your business. So there was a lot of customer education towards understanding these gaps, the impact they have to the business, and they can actually be resolved. Because sometimes you will find that a customer will stick with an issue or a gap, and they just accept it as a risk. You know, when we discuss risk, we have a known risk and an unknown risk. So they know this is a problem, and then they decide, okay, fine, we'll work around it. We'll live with it, right? So in this case, at least where we are currently as an industry, everyone gets to understand, okay, this is a technology problem. This is and they drill down and say, okay, this is a cyber problem. So I think we need the cyber experts to come on board.
Okay, give us scenarios of common cyber threats, maybe in public or once you faced, and how you resolve them.
There are many. The stories are many. The stories are many. So
let's start with the best story.
The best one. So the best one was some years back, I think 4 or 5 years back. An institution, a financial institution, almost lost all their operating cash. So some people figured out we are going to infiltrate. Then we are going to give ourselves a bank account, of course. Then when no one is very keen, we are going to remove all the monies. So they almost, I think at that point, they had almost stopped operating because almost all the operating money had been removed.
Wow.
Yeah.
So who are these people and where are they doing it from and what is happening?
Doing it from, they were doing it from, so it wasn't in Kenya, particularly, it was in another country. So they were doing it from, so the money was removed in Dubai, but the activity happened within the country. They identified some university students to try and help. They lied to them that if they do this for them, they'll give them a little money. And then unfortunately, the students got arrested.
So they're the ones who got arrested?
Yes. So those particular individuals never really got arrested, but the money was recovered.
Okay.
We helped them recover and as well as secure the bank.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, that's good. So thank you for watching this episode. Leave your comments below with any questions that you may have. You can also go to our social media and DM us your questions. See you in the next episode with Lewis. We'll still be discussing on the future of work and cyber security. Thank you. Let's continue raising geniuses one episode at a time.